Hey everybody, I have a horrible headache and I thought what better time to record a video and look at a white screen than right now. This feels urgent though, I'm already late to the party, but Variety posted this 100 best horror movies of all time list and it's been getting a lot of talk on Twitter and I haven't peeked at it at all. This is all new to me except for number one. I know what number one is, but I wanted to look at this list and, give my thoughts on it, react to it because I think that's really interesting. I haven't actually seen a horror list, at least a best horror of all time list, ever. I can't remember the last time I saw a list like this. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about it. I don't think I'll talk about every single movie on this list, but I'm going to do my best to, cover it. Starting with 100, Repulsion, the Roman Polanski film. I haven't seen it. So, 99, Suspiria. I totally see this. I'm actually surprised at how low it is on the list. I am not the biggest Suspiria fan, I will admit. I've seen it twice now. Both times didn't really click for me. I don't know what happened in between, I guess the pandemic. But I think it would really click these days for some reason. It seems so up my alley, all the colors and whatnot, so I am just surprised that it's this low on the list. That seems like a classic that would be a lot higher. Let's see, The Devil's Backbone. I'm not that crazy about The Devil's Backbone either. I guess if there are 100 movies, then yeah, I can see it making this list. I know it's one of Guillermo del Toro's most underrated to a lot of people. A lot of people really ride or die for Devil's Backbone, but not my cup of tea. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a big one that I haven't seen. Dead Alive, haven't seen it. Event Horizon, haven't. Jesus Christ. Cat People, dude. I've been wanting to watch Cat People for so long. I've had the Criterion for years. I keep trying to sell my girlfriend on it. I'm like, tonight we should watch Cat People. And they keep being like, I don't know. So I really want to watch it though. I have seen the Paul Schrader remake, which is very erotic. I don't know if the same can be said about this one, but the fact that it has made the list above Suspiria somehow means I need to get around to this one. The Human Centipede 2. I have seen a lot of discourse about this one. I saw this one back in middle school, which means I haven't seen it. I can't really even count that because I don't remember a single thing about it, but this feels a bit ridiculous, right? I didn't like it in middle school, which doesn't say a whole lot, that what did I know, but above Suspiria? Dead of Night. Dead of Night is a really good film. I'm going to keep saying above Suspiria, though, because, I don't even fuck with Suspiria like that, but really? Dead of Night's fun, though. A Page of Madness. Dude, that's a good I'm glad this made the list. That's a really good film. I just talked about this one. That's a really unsettling still. Very good pick. Very good pick. Good to see it here. We're out of the 90s. Horror of Dracula. I haven't seen it. Reanimator. I don't like Reanimator. I don't like that movie like that. I don't know how it's above A Page of Madness. Now it's going to be a lot of movies that I'm like, how did this make it above A Page of Madness? Reanimator, I think, is really just not my thing. And I feel like I watched it at a time where I feel pretty confident in that opinion. I thought it was a boring ass movie. Dead Ringers, haven't seen it. That's a big one. Little Shop of Horrors. Oh, but the 1960s version, haven't seen it. What's Beneath, The Wolfman. Dude, I need to get around to The Wolfman. Oh, man. Every year, I watch one of the iconic Universal Picture monster movies. I usually end up loving them. I love those fucking movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, what's the other one? I'm forgetting the other one. I don't like Dracula that much, but is Dracula one of those? But The Wolfman is one that's been on my list forever, dude. And you can kind of count this as a monkey movie. He kind of looks like a monkey, but I guess he's a wolf. Moving on. Angst. Oh, geez. Angst made the cut, dude. I also just talked about this one actually in my movies that are actually scary video. I don't know if this one is held up as well as I remember it holding up. I remember it giving me a headache. I remember being very disturbed by it. It was a huge influence on Gaspar Noé. I would owe Gaspar Noé's entire filmography to this film. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I think it's there it is. They actually mention Gaspar Noé. I like Angst. Dude, Climax better be on this fucking list. The Blob, 1958. Wait, 1958. Are you fucking serious? I haven't seen the 80s version. The 80s version is supposed to be really good, but I did watch this 58 version of The Blob a few Halloweens ago. Severely underwhelmed. I do not like this movie. I think this, next to Reanimator, both very boring. Do not, use the potential of their premise enough. The Blob is so underwhelming in this film. The characters in this film suck. I hate horror movies that rely too much on the creature or the main attraction, and this both doesn't use the main attraction enough and doesn't rely on or doesn't use anything else for that matter. So fuck The Blob. Descent, just watched this one. And as someone who just watched it, this is kind of crazy. It's not the best thing in the world. I think it being above all of those other films is crazy because it's not that good. I don't know if it's top 100 worthy, but what do I know? There aren't that many horror movies, I guess. But it was good. It was fun. Nightmare on Elm Street, nothing really to say about that. Although it does seem a bit low for being like a Wes Craven classic. Like this is a I'm so curious what could be above this. Like this is regarded as one of the best. Dracula, Creature. There it is. Too low. Glad it made the cut, but too damn low. Creature from the Black Lagoon, one of the best. Like, one of the best creatures of all time. Just so iconic, still holds up incredibly well. Genuinely terrifying, but that's just because I have a phobia of water. Yeah, it's too damn low. One of the best of this era. Hostel Part 2, also one I watched in middle school, but don't remember a whole lot from. I don't have anything against this one being on here, or any of the Hostel films for that matter, because I think they are genuinely fucked up. And, that's impressive. That's worth admiring, worth putting on a list. The Wailing, I still need to see The Wailing. Possession, really low. I haven't even seen it, but I know that's low. Possession, I know I have to watch it to have an opinion and to have, like, to feel some way about this. 67's crazy for what is, like, one of the most beloved horror films of all time. People ride for this thing. 67 is pretty damn low. The Babadook, it's all right. I mean, it is pretty damn good. I really liked it when I first saw it. Really liked it on a rewatch. Like, still holds up really well. I have not seen it since then, so actually I don't know why I said it holds up really well. I can't really speak on that, but I remember enjoying it, and I think Jennifer Kent has the sauce, I think it wasn't just a one-and-done situation. I think there was some real talented filmmaking on display there. Can't shit on the Babadook. 66 actually feels like a very respectable place for this film. Incredible Shrinking Man, dude. I need to finish this. That's actually crazy that it's this high. I really liked it, though. So my story with The Incredible Shrinking Man is I started it thinking it was a Monkey Mondays movie because it was on some list. And then at a certain point, I was like, I don't know why there would be a monkey in this. And I did a bunch of... I paused it because I only had so much time that day. I paused it and did a bunch of research to see if there was a monkey in the film. I kind of scrolled through to see if I could see one. Never saw a monkey. So I stopped watching it because I was like, I'm going to waste away the day if I don't see a monkey in here. That's a dumb reason for not finishing this film, but I do need to finish it because it was really good. I was really into it. Maybe I'll finish it this month. Gremlins. This feels also like an appropriate place for Gremlins. Not one of the best, but a pretty solid horror film. One of the classics. Not a classic that I would expect to see in the top 50, though. Funny Games, obviously. I have to say, I'm not even upset at this placement. I think we're hitting the 60s are a good spot. I feel like Funny Games at 60 is pretty solid. It is very disturbing. Another one that was on that list, might I add. But I think the breaking the fourth wall thing gets a little exhausting. I've complained about Funny Games and praised Funny Games so much. I feel like I have nothing else to add, but I do feel like 60 appropriate spot for it. Raw. Wow. I did not expect Raw to be on here for some reason. Yeah, you guys know me. I love Raw. That is one of my favorite films. And on my personal list, this would be a hell of a lot higher, obviously. But for a general variety list, I'm shocked at how high it is. Like, maybe it's not any high. Maybe it doesn't deserve to be any higher than this. Maybe some people think it should be not on the list at all. But for me, I'm really happy to see this here. Being Julia Ducournau's like big splash onto the scene, I think it does have a lot of significance and deserves to be here for sure. It's the debut of a fresh new voice in body horror with a very unique take on it that I think, deserves a lot of respect. It's kind of a decade-defining film, The Fly. Okay, so having just rewatched The Fly this week, The Fly is a really good movie. Like a fucking banger of a movie. Deserves to be a lot higher than this. We're talking about body horror. One of the best body horror films ever made. Maybe the best body horror film ever made. I might go as far to say that. I think it's like one of the best uses of that subgenre that I can think of. It's so incredible. It's so moving. Like very purposeful every step of the way. It might be David Cronenberg's best. But let me hold that thought because I think he might have some more on here. But I think The Fly should be top 50 for sure. Maybe top 20 if I'm being honest. Eraserhead, not cracking the top 50. To be fair, I don't think Eraserhead is one of the first films I would think of when putting together a horror list. I guess it is a horror movie. I think David Lynch makes horror movies, but Eraser. For some reason, they just exist on a different wavelength altogether. But yeah, Eraserhead for sure deserves to be here. Probably deserves to be a bit higher now that I think about it, for being so significant in film history. Irreversible. It made the cut. Oh man, if Climax isn't here but Irreversible is here, I'm gonna be pissed. I think Irreversible deserves to be here for sure. It's it is one of the most shocking movies ever made. It's probably the most disturbing film I've seen, I have to admit. Even having seen many more films since this, I think this still takes the cake. It truly disturbed me, made me upset how disturbing this movie was, and that has never happened before. So gotta respect it, gotta put it on here. I've since come around to it. I'm not as mad about it as I used to be, but it is another Gaspar Noé movie that deserves to be here more than Onibaba. Deserves to be higher. Deserves to be a lot higher. Onibaba, one of my favorite horror movies. One that I have not been able to stop thinking about since I saw it. Every time October rolls around, I think about Onibaba. I'm like, that should be on everybody's list if they haven't seen it. Just an incredible movie about grief, about the war. Genuinely terrifying. The Witch, oh hell yeah, glad The Witch made it. Maybe a bit high considering the things it beat, but still probably, if we're talking about decade defining horror films, this is one of them. You cannot deny that this like style of A24, what's the term? Elevated horror. I hate that term so much, but The Witch is kind of one of the poster children for it. It's one of the most iconic of that style of horror, so you kind of got to respect it for being here. I hope Midsommar's a bit higher or even on the list at all. I think it would be, or Hereditary will definitely be here, but glad The Witch is here. 49 maybe a bit high. The Birds is a nice inclusion. I'm glad to see The Birds here, actually. I have nothing to say about that. Just love The Birds. Godzilla, obviously, also pretty damn low. The original Godzilla, that I thought would be like top 10. Like, obviously, I can't think of any other Godzilla film that's gonna be it. Talk about one of the most influential, one of the most purposeful creature films out there. Like a pretty emotionally devastating film. 47, a bit low for Godzilla 1954. The Thing should be higher. The Thing should be number one. I'll say it. The Thing should be number one. It's like my favorite horror movie. It's my favorite horror movie. It's my favorite ending in any horror movie ever. I take it back about The Fly. That's the best body horror. If you can even call that body horror, that's more just like practical effects. I take it back. But oh my God. Oh my God. The Thing is, I don't give a shit what they have to say about it. It should be at least top 10. This is bullshit. The Invisible Man, very good. Creature from the Black Lagoon should be higher. Vampire, too damn high. I thought it was fine. I think it's beautiful. I think it looks incredibly interesting, and I love the lighting, but not my favorite of, what's his name, Dreyer? I mean, for sure, like, stylistically speaking, one of the best, definitely. But as a horror film, pretty bland. This has been on my list for years. I've had it literally on my horror watch list for like 4 years in a row. The fact that it's 39, I feel like I have to watch it this year. There are no more excuses anymore. There it is, Hereditary. Honestly, pretty low, all things considered. I can't imagine Midsommar being above this. If Midsommar is above this, that is going to be crazy. But I feel like, honestly, if we're talking about like historical significance, I feel like Hereditary is the bigger film. I feel like this started an entire wave of horror that did not exist before it. Still, I guess 36 is pretty high. I just thought maybe top 30. Evil Dead 2. I never knew the full title was Dead by Dawn. I'll be honest, this threw me off. I didn't know if this was the same one that I love, but it is. That should also be top 10. I'm going to be honest. That is up there with The Thing for me. Even though I know it's not like the scariest movie in the world, I think it's like the funniest horror movie. It's the most fun I've ever had with any horror movie ever. The effects are still mind-blowing. Like, I think it's just mind-blowing. It's still so fun to watch. It holds up every time I rewatch it. It's a tight like 80 minutes. It gets in and gets out. The ending takes you somewhere you never thought you would go. If The Evil Dead, the first one, is above this, I'm going to be pissed. And I think it might be. Nothing to say about M, but I'm glad M is here. Oh shit, Ringu. Also genuinely scared. I don't remember if I actually put this on my scary movies list. I know I put the American version of it. But Ringu is very good. Wasn't as scared by this as I expected to be. I think because the American version traumatized me so much that like expectations were pretty high. But genuinely great horror movie, even if a bit forgettable If I'm being honest, I don't remember a whole lot about it other than obviously the iconic scenes, but I think it deserves to be here. 31, bit high. There are a handful of others that are lower than this that I would put above this. Eyes Without a Face, great pick. Top 30 feels very appropriate for that. Very appropriate for Eyes Without a Face. The Wicker Man, dude? Are we 28? This is actually crazy. And I've seen it. I saw it a few years ago during the pandemic, I think, actually, and in a Netflix watch party. I don't get it. I mean, it's fun. It's fun for sure, but oh man, I do not think this is the 28th best horror movie of all time. I don't even think if it cracks the top 100 now that I think about it. What is the reason here? What we experience at the climax of The Wicker Man is the unleashing of the cult mentality into the world. I guess that's a pretty good reason. Why do I feel like there were other examples of that before The Wicker Man, though, that were more effective? I mean, maybe this was the first one to popularize it. Like, maybe, this is kind of why we have Midsommar, which I think is a more interesting example. I'm going to be pissed if Midsommar is not on this list now. I don't know. It's whatever. That's a good point, but it's whatever. Dracula, also don't love Dracula, but that's kind of on me. I know I'm in the minority about that one. Dracula's just fine. It's probably my least favorite of this era of horror films. I like Bela Lugosi in it. Other than that, kind of a snooze. Scream at 25. Gotta respect that. I thought it would be higher at this point. Like, seeing the way this list has gone, I thought Scream would be a lot higher, but I respect it. I respect it. I knew it would be in this realm, though. The Blair Witch Project, come on. The Blair Witch Project is such a, like, number 100 on this list. Like, it should be wherever the Human Centipede was. Like, definitely. I get it. I understand the influence. I understand, like, the production of it is incredibly iconic. You know, it represents, the future for film and like what you can do on a low budget. It's incredibly important for found footage films, having made that video. I'm actually shocked that this is here, but we haven't seen a single Paranoid Activity? Is that what it's called? Paranormal Activity. Jesus Christ. Or, what's it called? The Skype movie. Wait, Skype horror movie. Unfriended. Unfriended should be here. I'm an Unfriended defender. It should be here instead of Blair Witch. It's a better found footage horror film, and I just know it's not going to be here. Oh my god, this actually just blew my mind. Carnival of Souls. I love Carnival of Souls. That is like that. I forget his name, but that's that director's only film he ever made. It's beautiful, like one of the most gorgeous horror films out there. Honestly, a lot of the like lighting and framing that you see in Vampire, you also see in Carnival of Souls in the last 10 minutes specifically, and it's way more interesting. It's actually terrifying, like properly scary. Should have put that one in my video. Love Carnival of Souls. Very happy to see it here, and very happy to see it this high. I would maybe put it even higher, but just to see it at 22 is, that makes me happy. Sunday, I haven't seen it, but this did remind me about Black Christmas, which better be on here. It better be in these next 20. Get Out. Respect it. Surprised it's this high, but seeing as though it cracked the sight and sound list, can't be too surprised that it's this high. I mean, yeah, one of the most influential and important horror films of that decade. Definitely a classic at this point. I love Get Out. I think Get Out's fun. Mummy. They got the wrong Mummy on this. The Shining, only at 8. Oh, ooh. That's concerning. I mean, I know that's a basic thing to say. That's just me being a normie, but like The Shining is that's top 10, honestly. That is one of the best horror movies ever made. It's genuinely terrifying, beautiful to look at, endless. You can talk about it forever. 18 is kind of crazy. I don't know what could be ahead of it. Okay. Nah, this movie's pretty good. I love Diabolique. It blew my mind the first time I saw it. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, this doesn't seem that interesting. And then I was hooked for its entire runtime. And then the ending just blew my entire face off. I don't know if it's better than The Shining, but I can't be too mad that this beat it. Halloween, okay. They're making sense here. Halloween definitely deserves to be here. Also, surprised it's not top 10. I have no idea what can be top. I know what one of them is. I'm predicting The Exorcist is another. Rooting for Black Christmas. Climax is gone. We're not getting Climax. Don't Look Now. I haven't seen it. Shit, I need to see that. Nosferatu, it's on the list for this month. Silence of the Lambs. To be honest, I kind of consider Silence of the Lambs more of a thriller than a horror. I don't know if I would call it a horror movie, but I haven't seen it since college, so maybe I'm wrong. I mean, good to see it here. It's a classic. It's a really good movie. Front to back, perfect film, so can't really say anything bad about it right now. King Kong. No. As someone who has seen a lot of monkey movies this year, I don't think the 1933 King Kong is that good. I really don't. I've seen other King Kongs that surpass. I truly think the 70s King Kong with Jeff Bridges is better. I think it's a better film. I mean, I get this. It's iconic. You know, the stop motion is there. It's really great. It started the whole King Kong thing. I should be grateful for it. But, like, not the most, like, interesting way of telling the story, to be honest. I think they have attempted to tell it in much crazier, more ambitious, much scarier ways since then. Alien... Can't complain there. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot that even counted. That's a good ass movie. Also genuinely scary, I should note. Very, very deserved. Okay, top 10. So what are we missing? The Exorcist? Midsommar's gone. If Midsommar's in the top 10, I'm going to be kind of concerned, if I'm being honest. Can you imagine if Joker made it? That'd be so funny. Beetlejuice, that doesn't count, right? What, like, bullshit new movie is probably going to make the cut? Do you think they'll put Jennifer's Body there? No. Okay, I should stop scrolling. Oh my god, if it is there, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. Carrie's okay, that's... Still haven't seen it. I've seen the shitty remake with Chloe Grace Moretz, but I haven't seen the original Carrie, which is like the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Salo. I did see this on Twitter. That is... And even though I knew this was coming, I completely forgot about it, and it's just as shocking now. I don't really agree that it's a horror movie, though. When I first saw it, I expected a horror movie. It's kind of just a drama with really disturbing things. I mean, it's a great film. Top 10 is a little extreme for this, I'll be honest. Even though it is still regarded as one of the most disturbing films. Like, people are still intimidated by this thing. That says a lot. Oh my god, I just remembered House. If House isn't in the... I'm going to fucking kill Frankenstein. Can't argue with that. You know, probably the most iconic of that era. I can't think of any that would beat it. It's... Yeah. Sure. I forgot about Audition. Good to see some Mickey here. I think Audition was a little too much for me when I first saw it. Not as far as scares go, but, like, I was kind of stupid at a certain point. And this movie is very clever and... pretty deep. So I don't think I gave Audition the credit it deserves. I can't say anything negative about it. It probably deserves to be here. Some of the most iconic images of all time in this film. Night of the Living Dead. I know it's influential. I know it's probably the best Romero, but it's not number 6, dude. It's just not number 6. I guess I can't really think of a better zombie film off the top of my head. Like, this is probably the zombie film. I don't know if there's any that top it, but, like... this is a bit high for this, you know? It's good. It's not this good. Rosemary's Baby, can't argue with that. That's pretty good. That is a pretty good film. Again, I always considered it more of a thriller, but it's been a few years. I don't know if I fully agree with that right now. Jaws. Oh my fuck. I forgot about Jaws. Oh my god. House isn't going to make it, is it? House is not making it. Jaws fully deserves to be here. Even though I guess I kind of consider it more of an action film, it's not. It's a horror movie. That is a really... It made people afraid of sharks again. It's still really great. I just rewatched it, I think, last summer. And, yeah, still pretty disturbing. The shark still... I think it's the fact that it looks a little dated that makes it so scary. Like, there's something... I don't know. Just this image itself is unsettling. Deserves to be here. I can't argue against Jaws. Again, the water thing. You guys know me. Psycho. Okay. Number 2 has to be The Exorcist then, right? If it's not The Exorcist, what the fuck are we doing? Psycho, can't argue with that. I think Hitchcock has been better. It's a bit of an overrated Hitchcock film in my opinion. Again, it's been a while, so I can't speak on it too much, but I understand its influence, its significance. Number 3 feels pretty appropriate. I can't argue with that. The Exorcist. There we go. Okay, thank God. I was like... I got scared for a second. I'm pissed because House isn't here. I just got so sad because I realized it's not going to be here. But The Exorcist, very good placement. I think I also would have put it like top 5. That's a very terrifying horror movie. Also very ahead of its time. Oh my god, there was never Black Christmas. And number 1 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I actually do think is a very good pick for number 1. You guys know me. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's still very scary. Some of the most striking images ever put to film. This one specifically, I mean, like all the sunlight. I don't know. It's so bright. It's not the type of stuff you typically expect to see in a horror film, but it works really well here. It's like really unsettling. Every scene I'm on edge. Kind of psychedelic too. Like, it moves at such a pace that's like, I don't know, you kind of get lost in it. I just really love this film, and I'm pretty happy that it's here. But I am very upset at some of the snubs. Black Christmas, House, Climax. I'd throw Midsommar in there. I'd throw Andy in there, but that was never gonna make. Unfriended, Paranormal Activity doesn't be here. Anyway, I think that's what I gotta say. I got a burger waiting on me, so I'm gonna cut it here. But thanks for watching. What do you guys think? What do you wish was on this list? What do you wish wasn't on this list? Okay.